All right, let's go ahead and get started. We're going to talk about some motivation. We're going to talk about some meditation. We're going to talk about some inspiration. If it's not one of the three, I don't want it. Getting into that mentality, putting ourselves in that place where we're utilizing what we have inside, focus, knowledge, discipline. Asking ourselves what kind of challenges we're facing off against, what we're looking to make it through, and getting down to that place inside of who we are. And so, how do we work with our challenges? How do we put ourselves in a place where we utilize what we have, where we focus, where we utilize the challenges that we have inside of ourselves? And each of us faces off against challenges. We face off against the things that we go through. We face off against the parts of who we are. And is it truly inside of yourself where you grow? Is it inside of your being that you want to vibrate? And so let's go ahead and start looking at that. Let's start looking at what it takes to get inward, what it takes for you to sit down with yourself and to start to recognize that you're worth it and that you can achieve your dreams and your goals. You know, a lot of people say it. They say, what is it that you want to achieve? You know, like what is it that you're looking to work on? You know, what is it that you do that nobody else can do? And you know, it's when you put yourself in that kind of a place where you're using that kind of energy, it starts to flow. Hello, blessings. Hello, blessings. Positive energy only, okay? Hello,
Yo, bro. Yo, bro.
blessings. How are you doing? Where are we calling from?
I'm calling from Algeria.
Oh, blessings, my friend. How are you doing? Is it good out there?
I am good. I am good. There is just a rocket flying on top of me. We are in danger.
Oh, I feel for you, my friend. Um,
Yeah. We're chilling though. We're chilling. Yeah.
well,
I just have one question.
sure.
Can I have the N-word pass?
The what?
The N-word pass. The word nigga. Can I say it?
No.
Why?
So it's inside of ourselves that we're looking to overcome our challenges. And when we put ourselves inside of a place where we don't allow negativity to be a part of our day and a part of our being, then we have the ability to overcome our challenges. And it's when we focus into positivity, when we put ourselves in a place where we utilize what we have inside. See, a lot of times people are going to try to derail you. They're going to try to throw things at you that are going to drop you, that are going to hold you from being who you are. And it's when you're willing to focus through your challenges, when you're truly willing to be who you are on the inside. And it's inside of who we are that we seek that mentality. It's inside of who we are where we seek that ability inside of ourselves. And when we look at our challenges, when we look at our abilities inside of ourselves, we are seeking a a foundation. We're seeking the person inside of ourselves who asks the questions. And so when we focus to that place where we start to seek out the ability inside of ourselves, when we start to seek out the ability to overcome our challenges, what we're truly seeking out is who we are inside. And when we focus to that point where we're utilizing who we are, and it doesn't just happen in one day, okay? It happens when we're willing to continue to focus through the things that we go through. And so, what are some of the challenges that you face off against? Okay, what are some of the things that you go through. Like we start asking ourselves those types of questions. We start getting to that place where we start to brainstorm with me a little bit. What does it take, for you to be who you want to be? What does it take for you to start to study yourself? What does it take for you to focus to that point? So we start thinking about it, like what skills do you have? What challenges do you face off against? What is it that's stopping you from being yourself? See, and it's almost like I see it on a daily. I see people that are continuing to focus, that are continuing to put themselves in a place where their mentality is, and I see those that aren't focused, that are going to positions and working for the acronym just over broke. So are we both wealthy inside when we're focused, or is it more? You see what I'm saying? And what is that more? Is that you and your mentality? Is it when you're with these type of people you act this way, or is it when you're with these type of people you act that way? See, you build yourself up with your mentality. You build yourself up with who you want to be. You build yourself up when you utilize the things that you have inside, that you utilize the gifts that you have, the talents that you have. And so how do we start to farm those talents? How do we start to put ourselves in a place where we start utilizing what we have? And as I was, last night I was talking to a friend, and someone that's dear to my heart, and we were talking about how how I've been doing this for nearly 2 years. Okay, I've been on the mentality of doing videos for over 2 years now. All right, and when we're doing that, when we're putting ourselves in that kind of a place where, other people, and I know, at least for myself, when you start focusing, you start getting tested. Okay, when you start putting yourself down to the gifts and the skills that you have, the things and the things that you would have to go through just to do that, to truly sit down inside of yourself and to grind on that part of who you are are part of yourself, and it's inside of who we are. Okay, that our challenges have the ability to ask us if we're qualified, and and just experiencing in the last almost 2 years of doing videos and podcasts and YouTubes and Facebooks, which I just um, uh, included this last month, the podcast, which I've completed just a little over 20 podcasts at this point. Okay, and I've started to realize that taking that time for yourself is not always easy. Okay, it doesn't just happen in one day, and when we're focusing, it's not always going to be easy. And the reason why it's not always going to be easy is because it's going to ask you if you truly want it. And so the question that I have for you guys today is, what do you guys truly want? What is it that what is it that brings you closer to opening up your mind, to seeing at a higher level, to seeing your value, to see that your focus is worth it? You see, I'm nearly at almost 200 videos on YouTube. Okay, I have motivation, meditation, inspiration yoga, YouTube, Facebook, Periscope, Twitter, Instagram. You know, I'm on the multiple networks. Okay, and and using these abilities inside, using this kind of mentality, I've come to realize this. What I've come to realize is that it's not easy, okay? You are going to face off against your own challenges. You are going to have things that are going to work against you. And when you allow yourself to not allow the handicaps in this world to stop you, okay? Which all of us have. All of us have some form of challenges that we've got to work on. That when we're doing that, okay, when we're putting ourselves in that kind of a place where we start to listen to ourselves, it's going to take some time. And I know, at least for myself, that time has been to shut a door and to talk into a camera. That time has been to sit down and to work with breath work. And the reason why I don't like calling it meditation is because when we're utilizing our being in a place of focus, it's the reflection that I've realized that other people see. Okay? And so every day I woke up asking myself this question: is what I'm doing today, is it motivation? Is it meditation? Is it inspiration? Because if it's not one of the three, I don't want it. And I've experienced things that, that only I could have gone through. A lot of people would say, oh, poor you, you slept in a van for 2 months, your wife left you. I don't see it that way. Okay, I see the blessings that I had, that I could spend 5 hours inside of a sauna, that I could meditate and break barriers that other people said and considered to be impossible. Okay, with witnesses. Okay, I have friends that have literally witnessed me spending hours inside of a sauna. Okay, I've had the ability that people with challenges have come to me to seek out mentality, to seek out ability inside of themselves. And you see, what I know is that I'm meant to help people. Okay, I know that when I was with the teams and I was working for Chrysler, that a lot of people started seeking me out because the person who sits down and takes notes, okay, the person who puts themselves in a place where they're willing to study, becomes a master of their time. So ask yourself, is your time important to you? Okay, is your time, is it important to you? And so if your time is important to you, then why aren't you studying it? And if you are studying it, are you taking notes on it? See what I'm saying? See, because the most valuable trait that you have is being you. The most valuable thing that you have is your mentality. And so a lot of people, they disable that mentality. They stop themselves from that ability inside of who they are. They stop themselves from believing in themselves instead of seeing the opportunities that they have. And when we start to do that, when we start to do that, so I just got to ask a question on Periscope. What is my YouTube channel? Okay, and in there is a link, motivation, meditation, inspiration. If you go to my website, at the top corner there is. If you go to the YouTube and you subscribe, you can actually go back and watch my videos on a daily basis. Now, it was pretty awesome because yesterday I had somebody who ended up asking me a question about one of the days that I was actually meditating, and I went home and I fell asleep, and I woke up exactly 3.5 hours later. And in that dream, I had a dream that I was in a time machine, and that there were other people in the time machine, and that sleep is a time machine. So that's an example of utilizing that kind of stuff. So you can, inside of my stories, inside of my mentality, inside of these things, if you yet but utilize what I'm talking about, you will find that way in your professions to be on top. Okay, you will. I mean, I granted we had a closer, and I was the top salesman every other month, which means that pretty much on a monthly basis, I was a top salesman. I was pretty much, you could almost bet I was in the top two. Okay, for Chrysler for 2.5 years. But that's not even the beginning of it. Okay, I was on top of selling cars for 50, 60 hours a week. I was also out there driving 35 to 40 hours. This means I was pulling 2 full-time jobs. And how do we start to use our gifts, my friends? How do we start to focus to the place inside of ourselves where we utilize what we have inside? See, this is what I'm talking about today. I'm talking about what it takes for you to be you. Okay? What it takes for you to get within you. And this isn't about me, my friends. This is about you. And if I could share my story, if I could share my challenges, if I could share how for 8 years I loved somebody more than I loved myself, if I could yet but bring that person who is not feeling belief in themselves to a place where they could start believing in themselves, then this would be worth it. Okay? Then if I could save just yet but one person, if I could get you to focus to the place where you can create your own foundation, where your mentality starts to open up, where your ability inside of who you are is you. And if you can yet but believe in yourselves, that you can focus, if you can yet but believe that it's possible for you to focus, that what you're going through is worth it, then this message is worth it. If this message can find that person who is struggling right now, who's getting their butt kicked, who is hearing these kinds of things, that negativity, and learning to block it out, learning to allow themselves to be a positive person, to have a positive mentality. And I sat there and I remember going after meditating, which I've been doing for nearly a decade. Okay, I'm 35 years old. I started meditation at 27. Okay, so what have I learned from it? What did sitting down and doing meditation do for me? It started to remove the pains. It started to, when I first started to want to learn meditation, the thing that I was seeking after was the ability to turn that trait on to blush. That if I could learn how a trait inside of ourselves, like blushing, works, that I might be able to glow for my customers when I was working for Chrysler. And so, in the process of learning how to do that, in the process of learning how to turn that trait on, I found that who we are inside matters. Okay? That at a certain point, being yourself is a blessing. It's a place worthy of focusing. Okay? And so I like to share with you some of the skills that I have found have worked for me, that have helped me to understand that the things that I go through are worth it. And so one of those things that I learned as I was working with Chrysler was time management. The ability to write down your shift, to write down your things, and to start to put yourself in a place where you become organized, okay, where you become focused. And when I started to work towards the sheer focus itself, I realized that we have to work through those processes, through that place of fight and flight, slavery and emotion, time and organization, to ultimately reach that place where what's valued is our focus and our knowledge. And so right now I'm going to talk about focus. I'm going to talk about how you look at somebody and you're motivated by them. Okay, when you look at somebody and you see them as a motivation, is when they're willing to continue, when it's difficult, when they're willing to get in front of a camera when they don't know how, when they're willing to put in that speech at work, or to take that position, or to continue to believe in things even when they're not working. Are you that focused that even when the negative things are trying to break you down, you're so focused that positivity finds its way? See, and are we doing that? And it's inside of ourselves that we seek that part of mastery, okay? And that's why I say that a foundation and focus is what we seek after. See, that's what the creator of the universe wants you to see for yourselves, that you're worth it. And how are you worth it? And so, are we truly putting ourselves in a place where we're utilizing what we have inside? And how do we utilize that part of our mentality? And how should we start to focus to that place inside of ourselves where we utilize what we have inside? See, I focus to that place where we start utilizing our mentality, where we start utilizing our ability inside of ourselves. And so I started having people ask, how do you bypass emotion? Okay? And I remember a day when I was driving people, and I wrote down a quote. It said something like this: we learn the walls that we learn. We can also unlearn the walls by learning that they're walls. And so it's a very good question that was asked there, is how. So one of the things that I've learned is that what you focus into allows the things that are not meant for you to move out of the way. You have to allow yourself to be a part of that process. And as you do so, as you put yourself in a place of positivity, as you start seeking out positivity, it starts to find its path. It starts to find its ability inside of itself. And as I was working with people, okay, as the 3.5 years of telesales, 2.5 years of car sales, and 5 years of Uber driving, I recognized that the mentality molds to the one who focuses into positivity. So I was sitting there and I was listening to podcasts, and it's interesting that now I'm actually putting out a podcast across, the Google, Apple, all those different platforms, that I'm doing it as well too. And so I heard about Newton's third law of motion. For each action, there's an equal and opposite reaction. And so when we start to recognize that we are a part of the process of our journey, when we start to write things down in such a way, and to be a student of your life, that you are reading a paper in front of yourself and trying to turn your challenges positive, then the equations in front of ourselves start to open up. And I remember going with a friend to a vehicle where it was cold outside, and it's fine. The temperature was not warm, and we were locked out of a truck. And so when we were headed to the truck, I said, hey, you just got to learn the equation. Okay, see what I'm saying? If you could focus into that way, if you can put yourself in a place where you start utilizing your mentality in such a way that you realize that you can solve things, okay? That you can allow those things that aren't for you to move out of the way by having a positive mentality, by having a positive ability inside of yourself that you can overcome challenges. And it's interesting when you start to do so, when you start to put yourself in a place of peace, okay? When you're not allowing negativity to be around you. And if you didn't notice, earlier in the video, somebody was testing that mentality. See, and it's when we start to use our being, we start to use our vibration inside of who we are, that we start to open up to overcoming those kinds of challenges. And so how could that help you in your daily? How can looking at the way we look at things that we go through help us to overcome our challenges? How can we learn the lessons before they cycle back around? You see what I'm saying? And so the universe is such a great thing that when we use this universe in such a way that even Albert Einstein stated we should become friends with the universe. Yeah? And so are we doing that? Are we becoming friends with the universe? See, if scientists have recognized that the creator and the universe have molded this great thing, this great mentality inside of ourselves, shouldn't we start to be able to utilize it? Should we utilize universal law and universal being and the purpose that we actually have to be here? You see, it isn't when somebody else judges you, it's when you focus inwards to the point where you utilize your mentality. And so when we are utilizing that part of ourselves, when we're utilizing that part of our being and we're getting to that place where we become that kind of a blessing in this universe, then other people start to seek us out as motivation. And that's the first part of what I ask myself every day. Every day I remember waking up inside of a van. I slept in a van for 2 months. You know, I was married for 8 years, and I enjoyed it, okay? The reason I enjoyed it was because I wasn't spending my time just saying, well, this sucks. I was spending my time finding a way to make it work. When I had nothing, I have everything. Because when you focus to that point, okay, I remember going into the McDonald's and filling up water bottles, okay, probably about 2.5, 3 gallons of water a day, all right? I had shakes. I was out delivering food, okay? I was out there and I was delivering 20 to 30 plates of food a day. I had 2 dogs in the car. I was meditating inside the sauna at 24-hour fitness. And I was at peace, okay? So I look at that time with joy. I look at that time as expansion. Do we see those times and those challenges that we're facing off against in such a way of liberation? And you see, that helped me to become best friends with myself. Helped me to find that a quiet time in a quiet place is a place of peace. It's a place of observation. So how can you do that in your professions? How can you do that in your companionships? How can you do that in your homes? And we do face challenge, okay? It's meant for you to overcome. And so if I can yet but radiate from that place of focus to a place inside of you that it uplifts you, that you might not need to challenge from outwards, but from within out. And so I remember coming to Arizona. I remember getting here. I remember being told, you know, your wife abandoned you. You know, coming to a realization that caring about somebody else more than yourself, that needed to go inwards. I remember sitting down with my heater and sitting there and starting to gain silence, to gain understanding, to gain purpose within, to gain a path in a journey. And I look today at that person and I see that growth. I see that ability to sit down to that place to start to become that kind of a student. And we're always growing. We're always learning. We're always learning how to do things better and to understand at a higher depth and a higher caring about others and to be who we are on the inside. And how do we start to utilize that? How do we start to put ourselves in a place where what we're focused into gives us access to that student inside of ourselves? See, I don't really like calling breathwork meditation. And the reason why is because when we study ourselves, our whole entire being becomes that. See, the work that I do when I'm sitting down breathing, when I'm sitting down working with energy, when I'm sitting down, that's exactly what it is. What you call it is a word. Okay? What it is self-study, which is something that we can use in our everyday. And we can all spend some time studying ourselves. We can all sit down and start to become that kind of a student and start to overcome those kind of pains, those kind of emotions. We can start to give ourselves just a little bit of time for us to be who we are on the inside. And we each deserve that place inside of who we are. You hearing what I'm saying? You deserve a little bit of space for you. Look at your amount of years as you've been on the face of the planet. Are you not qualified to be yourself? And so that tells me that we are. That what other people call in the words that they say and use, that's their words. It's what you know about yourself that matters the most. And so how do we start to utilize that person inside? You see what I'm saying? And are we utilizing that person inside of who we are? So that is what I work on every day. Okay? If you want to call that meditation, if you want to call that breath work that I sit down with, that's the reflection that you see. And so when people are seeking out to learn meditation from me, there's homework, okay, in being yourself. There's homework in being who you are, and there's homework in facing off against your challenges. And it applies to every aspect of our lives, okay? It applies to every part of our being. It applies to our very essence and to our ability to decompress our emotions, our pains, our fears, and what type of energy are you using to do so? What is it, a positive place? Are you so focused that the things that aren't meant for you have the ability on their own to move out of their way? And when do we start to give ourselves that kind of permission was why I'm so blessed that challenge came, okay? Because when I faced off against not having anything and I found a way to make it, then I found that the person inside is who we believe in, ourselves. And a lot of people rob themselves by that. They rob themselves of that ability. They rob themselves of that place of mentality. And we each deserve to be a blessing. We deserve to know that inside of ourselves we are a beautiful person, and that our beings are lit up, and that our energies inside of ourselves are worth it. And so in self-study we break that down into the petals, the pages, the chakras within ourselves. And so when you first start doing breath work, when you first start sitting down with your breath, and you sit down inside of yourself, and you're working with your emotions, okay? You're working with that fight and flight. Am I going to be able to do this? Can I stay in this place? Can I stay still for a few minutes? Can I close my eyes and work through a process? You'll soon start to find that it starts to work, that the person inside of you starts to open up, that what you're facing off against is that student in your life. See, you are a student of your life. And a lot of people forget that. They try to get the top in their professions without spending the time inside to study and to have self-esteem, to have self-honesty. And when we start to study ourselves, and we start to gain that kind of a knowledge, to realize that all I can be is me, all I can be is who I am on the inside, when I start to light up from within who I am, when I start to heat up that knowledge within, when that student meets that teacher inside of you. Okay, that's where the first seed of knowledge within a lotus comes from, is when the pages, which are your breaths, become connected with the energy inside of yourself. When we start to realize that there is a real reason why we are called a human being, okay? Because we become present within ourselves. We become aware of who we are. We become aware of who we are within ourselves. The one that doesn't need all the outside things. The one who can pick themselves up in a dark tunnel and start to walk forward. And it's likened exactly to a tunnel. In a process of walking to the end of a tunnel, you might encounter emotions, you might encounter pains, you might encounter fears. If the one that's willing to continue to walk to the end of the tunnel reaches the end of the tunnel, are we all doing that? Are we putting ourselves in a place of self-belief, self-esteem, self-purpose? Are we sitting down and studying our challenges, and finding ways to become best friends with ourselves, to see ourselves as beautiful, to light up with what we already have inside of ourselves? See, when you are being who you are, people will say you've changed. They're going to say you're somebody different than you were. And when you start to be honest with yourself, the people who truly recognize you and who truly do know who you are will be attracted to you. And it is because you start to open up, and you start to bloom, and you start to shine. Okay? And when we're utilizing that kind of energy, when we're utilizing that kind of focus, when we are becoming that kind of light in the universe, it's not easy. Okay? I recognize this. And I faced off against this on a daily basis. You hear what I'm saying? We all face challenge. It ain't about the challenge. It's about the knowledge inside of yourself no longer holding you back from it. It's about that student getting the lessons behind the stories, and seeing the karmic cycles and overcoming the cycles themselves. See, I'm talking about the universe. Your knowledge inside of you that vibrates and manifests, and when other people see your light, they ask you, how did you create that kind of practice inside of yourselves? This is for my Discipline 101 group on Facebook, my YouTube, Facebook, Periscope, Twitter. This is for those people that are following me, that are subscribing, the people that are listening to the messages that I'm talking about. This is for you that I teach this. See, I'm talking about the story of a path. I'm talking about the story of discipline, the story within yourself to believe in yourself, how to start to do so, how to start to become disciplined to where you liberate yourself. You free your mind, you free your mentality, you free your being to be who you are on the inside. And there's many different ways to do that. But it requires your focus, it requires your knowledge, it requires your connection, it requires you becoming the classroom. It requires you recognizing that things like Einstein's theory of relativity matter, that both mass and energy is us, that we are in exchange, where our breaths and our purpose, our paths are worth it, that you can put your whole being into it, that you can utilize what you have inside, and that when you do that, that you reflect outwards as a reflection of your discipline. You see what I'm saying? From how disciplined you are, that inspires other people. And possibly if it even lifts and uplifts one person to believe in themselves today, then it's worth it to me. Because I remember when I was in the time trying to find myself, felt like I was in darkness, felt like I was in a place where I didn't know how to get up. And I remembered as I was sitting there listening, as I was sitting there grinding, as I was sitting there in front of the camera. You know, you can go back and watch the 5-minute videos. You could see the grown hair. You could see the challenges. You could see the things that I was going through. You could see the place that I am today. And I could tell you, it was all worth it. Every part of it. Every day. Every night I slept in the van. Every part of your being is worth it. And if I could do that, if I could learn how to do that, if I could get in front of a camera, if I could get in front of a camera and want to help other people that might be going through the same things as I was, okay? Let me go ahead and share with you a little bit of inspiration, okay? The first night that I slept in my van, I went to 24-hour fitness parking lot in Balboa, okay? And I slept in my van in the parking lot. And I remember sleeping in the van there. And as I was in the van, I recognized that there was other people sleeping in their vans next to me, okay? And so if other people can make it, you can too. You hearing what I'm saying? If you can get but know that your challenges other people are going through as well. And if other people can make it, you can too. I want to inspire you. I want you to start to believe in yourselves, to believe in your being, to believe in your ability, that to know that if you can yet just but hang in there, if you can yet but just believe in yourself just a little bit, just spend a little bit of time on yourself every day, it would be worth it. And find that place where you can find that time for you. I mean, really. Wherever that place might be, wherever that space might be, it might be inside of a book. It might be sitting down doing breath work. It might be singing or writing or drawing or even doing carpentry or even working with animals. That if you can find that place for you, if you could find that time for you to use your knowledge and your focus, that this is a positive thing in your life, then you will find a way. If you are in a place where you don't know if you can make it through it right now, and this might be that message that you might be hearing, this message is for you. Okay? This message is intended for you to see you're worth it. You hearing what I'm saying? for you to believe in yourself, to believe in your ability. You know, I think about when I was washing my clothes by hand in the 24-hour fitness bathroom, taking showers and using the dryer to wash my shirts, my pants, and my clothes, and to keep them completely dry. And I had washed clothes that I did by hand daily. You know, I think about that. You know, or when I washed my socks so many times that I wore them out. What a joy it is that we have the things that we have, the abilities that we have, the challenges that we have. Have we taken the time to see the blessings that we already have, the things that we know are worth it, and the things that we go through? And so, in that is where we find ourselves. In that is when we find time for ourselves. You hearing what I'm saying? You don't have to be selfish. You can be all you are, and nothing more, nothing less than you. When do we start to admit to ourselves that we are beautiful? That our knowledge and our focus are worth it? That you're worth it? And, you know, then I really wanted to start to come out here and help those people. And I really did sit down and I really did start helping people out. And you know what I found? It's such a joy to be a teacher. It's such a joy to share with your challenges and to overcome those challenges from within. And I'm still doing that today, you know. But what I know, my friends, is that they're worth it. You hearing what I'm saying? It's not that we don't have challenges. It's that not that we don't go through things. It's that when we embrace our challenges, when we use our focus and our knowledge to the place where we become disciplined, we gain understanding, we gain focus, we gain kindness in our hearts, in our beings, in our very essence of our own understanding. And it's interesting how I'm starting to see that unfold in front of me. I'm starting to see that part of myself becoming inspiration that I want to actually share my story with you. I want to uplift you. I want to bring you, close to your ability to believe in yourselves, to you to believe in your purpose, your path, your journey. And so, how do we utilize it? How do we utilize our being? How do we utilize our journey, our path? And so, are we able to do that daily? Are we able to do that from within who we are? Are we able to focus to that place where we utilize what we have inside? And so, are we doing that? Are we using our challenges, and are we using our focus? Are we using our knowledge inside of ourselves to where we have what it takes to be who we are? You see, when you're doing that for yourselves, it's not going to be easy. You know, I see the days when I'm sitting in front of the camera and I see the people, the weeks, the months, the years to come with joy. I look forward to the day when I teach more, when I'm in front of those people that are asking me to learn breath work, that are asking me to mentor, that are asking, how can you utilize this kind of mentality to a place where we utilize what we have every day, where we utilize motivation, meditation, and inspiration. See, the thing that kept me alive when I was sleeping in my van was that I asked myself this question right here every day. I asked myself, is what I'm doing today, is it motivation? Is it meditation? Is it inspiration? And if it wasn't one of the three, I didn't want to be a part of it. And so, are we doing that today? Are we becoming a part of that kind of structure? Connect with it. Become a part of the community. On Facebook, Discipline 101 Motivation, Meditation, Inspiration has nearly 1,000 members. You see what I'm saying? When you really want to make a change in this world, you inspire other people. There's nothing more that I want to be in this world than an inspiration to uplift you. I want, if you're going through those kind of challenges, those kind of things that I went through, I want you to be able to make it through them. I want you to be able to hear this message. I want you to be able to hear this for yourself. I want you to become the most successful person in your profession. I want you to become that person who has the ability to overcome challenge. I want you to be disciplined to the point where other people seek you out. I want you to be the person who others come to, who uplift other people, that is kind to other people. I want you to recognize that you have what it takes, that you are a blessing within this universe. And I want you to, more than anything, believe in yourselves. Believe in your path, believe in your purpose, believe that, just maybe what I might be sharing might be able to help you through a situation that you're going through. And that if I might be able to share how self-care is a reflection of self-love, that when you become that disciplined, that you can become an inspiration. See, my story is simple. I recognize that, there's many people going through the challenges and the things that I went through, and this last decade has taught very much this type of teachings to me. It's given me a place of understanding. And 35 and 15 years time, I've talked, learned many things, and spent time doing things that others would say is impossible. And it's not impossible, because your life is an impossible thing if you just think of the word itself. What is it that you've experienced? What is it that you can share with other people? What is it that you can utilize that inspires other people to be themselves, that inspires other people to believe in themselves? And how can you help out other people with the skills that you have? You hearing what I'm saying? When we give back, we receive more. When we utilize the law of riches, when in fact we're willing to give because we understand that the universe yields back, when we're willing to share our own stories, even when they're difficult, when we're willing to share our own struggles, when we're willing to share the person that we are inside, and we're willing to believe in ourselves at that level, that it's worth it. And so, are we doing that? Are we putting ourselves to the test to see what it takes for us to get there? Are we believing in ourselves to that level where we see the blessings within who we are? And how are we achieving our dreams? You hear what I'm saying? I want you to be yourself. I want you to let the things that aren't you die. I want you to be so into your journey, your path, that the things open up, that you're able to express yourself, that your focus and your knowledge become applied, and that thing is called you. And so how do we start to do that? Where can we start to go to do that? When we do that, when we put ourselves into that kind of a place where we utilize what we have inside of who we are, we utilize the energy inside, we utilize the focus, we utilize the purpose, we utilize the path that we have, then the journey that we have becomes worth it. Then the person that we are inside opens up. Then the person that we want to become opens up. And so, how are we able to do that? Where do we go to seek that person's light? And so, we've seen that across the face of the planet in the people who achieve high levels of success, that belief is worth it, that self-esteem, the self-purpose, self-journey is worth it. And so I'm not talking about selfishness. I'm talking about selflessness. I'm talking about the uplifting of other people's by you being yourself. I'm talking about the master within you, the master within your journey, the master within your purpose, the one who believes in themselves to the point where they have that ability to ask that question. Is what I'm doing today, is it motivation? Is it meditation? Is it inspiration? If it's not one of the three, I don't want it. And so, how do we start to do it? How do we start to utilize it? How do we start to focus to that place where what we have inside is worth it? And how do we start to gain a vibration within ourselves to that point? And it takes time. It takes practice. It takes discipline. It takes getting at it daily and going and getting it for yourself and using the skills that you have inside of who you are to believe in you. And this has to deal with every part of your being. It has to deal with every part of your day. It has to deal with your mentality. It has to deal with your ability inside of yourself, inside of your purpose, to gain access to your path. So we don't find the path by trying to build it. We find the path by experiencing the process of it. And so, are we doing that for ourselves to the understanding that we're worth it? I want you to be uplifted to the point where you feel you're worth it, where you feel that you can do great things, that you can utilize the blessings that you have, that you can utilize the purpose that you have, that you can utilize the path that you're on, and that you're worth it. And so, as I get ready to close, I have like about 2 minutes left here. I want you to see that your path and your journey is worth your time. It's worth your centering of your being. It's worth your ability for you to use what you have inside of yourself. And so positive, I'm on multiple networks. So just only positive words, motivation, meditation, inspiration, blessings, welcome. Hello?
Yes, how are you?
Very good. I'm on multiple networks. I have myself on.
Can I suck your ass? Hello.
So when we're utilizing our focus and our knowledge, we have to realize that the things that we go through are how we grow, okay? And I want you to be inspired to that point where you don't allow things like that to stop you. Okay? And you don't allow things like that to hold you back. And when we're focused to that point where we don't allow those types of things to have a part of our being, when we focus to the point where they no longer have the ability to stop us, then we find a discipline within ourselves, within our purpose, within our own journey. And it's worth it. You're worth it, my friends. And when you start believing in yourself to that level, where your whole being is connected, where your whole journey is worth it, where your whole path is worth it, then you have a chance to inspire other people. And when you uplift other people, they see the value inside you. They see the value in your worth. They see the value in your path. And you leave ripples in such a way that even after this is here, it uplifts other people. So I hear the people that watch these videos of mine, they start to tell me that the stories and the things that they're going through, they start to overcome. And so, are you overcoming your challenges by hearing this message? Leave your comments. Leave your words of kindness and